Welcome to episode 2 of our abandoned garden shed. We have $500, 5 weekends, and this old shed to turn from dilapidated to enchanted.
Last weekend we demoed the roof and realized this project is going to be a little bigger than we expected. So we're going to need more lumber and a better snap. That should do it, I hope. Goal is to have it reframed today, and then we're going to choose a paint color. I'll start measuring and cutting. Measuring twice, cut once, maybe cut twice. Yeah, and we'll start putting it back together. And here we are inside the garden shed. This is what it's looking like now that the sunlight's on it. You can see all the framing that is going to need to be redone. Mostly back at the end where the water dripped off the roof. But there is good news. Some of these boards are still really solid, and the sill plate is really solid too. So there is light at the end of this garden shed tunnel. I'm going to start framing, but first I need to remove these death hooks. Let me catch you up on the chaos. We pulled those metal brackets down. I did pull that 2x4 out there. And there's going to be some damage here to repair. And that too, and I'm going to use Abertron to fix all of that because you can screw into it, nail into it. Took this part of this board out and took the supports out that were here. I'm gonna have to finish taking that out. And then I have that 2x4. There's two of them actually there in the corner. I ripped one out. Now I gotta see how bad the other ones are. And then I can frame it. If you can hear that cat, not our cat, it's the neighbor's cat. It's been like that for years. Yeah, this is gonna have to come out. So the next day, I'm back in here inspecting the Abertron, and you can see it's hardened up. It's still a little bit tacky. The box does recommend 3 days to dry, and I'm not gonna wait that long. So like it might hold a screw. It might not need to hold a screw. We'll see when I start putting the roof on, but I wanna keep this momentum. So up next, we're going to cut some old nails out. Let me show you. I started to knock some of these through here, but on the other side is the trim boards that they're nailed through. I really don't want to punch all the nails out and have the trim fall, so I'm going to cut them with a Sawzall on the inside, and then we will nail in new 2x4s here. Took care of all the rusty nails. I also trimmed out this 2x4 that was up here. I kind of cut it in half on the one stud so that I can lay in a new board here, and I'll have a new board coming across from here. I just got to get this cleaned up and measured, and we'll put two together, two 2x4s in there, put another stud over there. And I'm going to write it all down because you measure twice, cut once. Measure twice, cut once. Hopefully. Perfect. Also need to reframe this window and clean it. There are already a few 2x4s in the rafters. I think Marie was anticipating some repairs here in the garage and around the house. So I'm going to be using those, and that is going to save us a little bit of money on this build, keeping us under that $500 budget, because that is tight. I didn't think that was that tight when I said it. Just kind of made it up. I think a lot of people are saying that shed should just be totally torn down and rebuilt, or buy some plastic thing and put there. And I'm sure a lot of other channels would. At the end of the day, we like to reuse things that we have, or rebuild what we can. It's a perfect size. The only thing we want to do is just add that extra window. And I think we're going to find one. I think it's going to show up in the trash, or someone's going to let me know that they are getting rid of their windows and we can grab one. Let's see how I did cutting. That's going to fit nice in there. I think this one goes there. So far, I think the Abitron's holding up. Like I said, it's not totally dry. They recommend 3 days, but I've been dropping nails through it. It's not chipping, it's not splitting. So that's good. Cover the whole house in Abitron. Finished framing up the window. I did only do one support, top and bottom, and it'll be fine. The weight of this roof isn't much at all. As long as I keep those vines from growing on top of it, it'll definitely support this window. This is in here pretty sturdy. Now the rest of the wall, just kidding, came together nice. I really enjoyed doing some of those framing. Cut that big branch down, sorry you missed it. Now I'm gonna cut a couple more, not quite as big, but if you wanna watch, you can see that too. I think the compost pile is supposed to go outside of the garden shed. These bigger logs are gonna go in the log pile that we're doing for the raised beds. That video will be coming along soon. So the old beams were spaced 24 inches apart, and I think that's gonna do well for holding this roof together. Gonna go ahead and line it up, since the nail holes aren't gonna be exactly in the same spot because I'm using different brackets. That'll work out nice, and I do want it to align with the stud so I can drive another nail in there, which, yeah, other than the doorway, the studs are 24 inches apart. So I'm marking the bracket first so I can hammer this side in on the ground, because trying to nail it up here, since I don't have a nailer, I gotta hammer it. Hitting it's just gonna move it. It's going in pretty good. I gotta get the other side nailed down, but I think it's gonna be a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be. Used a leaf blower to get all the excess dust and dirt out. It was quite the cloud, but definitely good that I did it without a roof. Blew a lot of that stuff out, and boy am I dirty. So the wardrobe change. I am going to paint everything now. In order to do that, I've got to mask this window, because I definitely don't want to get paint on it, even though it needs a thorough scrubbing. We'll scrub that after I paint. Gotta scrub the outside too. I do have like the mildew remover. We've gotten quite good at that around here. Well, there you have it. It's all primed and ready for some colorful paint.
Headed out to take a look at the shed after Hal's primed it, and I can already tell it's looking way brighter, and it is already amazing compared to what it looked like before. This looks great. This looks so much cleaner. It doesn't stink anymore, which is always a good thing. And yeah, it looks like it's ready for us to choose some colors. So I just went to the hardware store and checked out their discard pile of paint because I thought maybe we'll luck out and find something. I did not find anything other than a hot pink color, which is not what we're going for. So I'm gonna keep checking the discard pile because sometimes something will pop up there, but in the meantime, I did get some paint chips to try out in here just to see what kind of color scheme we might want to go with. All right, so to start with, this is the color of the trim on our house, the exterior of our house. House is white, trim is blue, so that's just kind of a starting point. This garden shed is very far away from our house and you can't really even see it, so we don't have to go with anything that actually goes with this, but I thought I would just bring it out here just in case I find something that complements it nicely. Okay, so now that the inside is pretty bright, I would like to keep it that way because I've seen what this garden shed looks like when it's dark and it's not pretty. So I got a variety of colors here to try out for the inside. And I was thinking possibly on the outside of the shed doing something a little bit darker so that it kind of looks like it's nestled back here in the woods. I thought that might be pretty. So first, let's look at the interior colors. All right, this is really more important for the exterior, so I'm gonna take that down so it's not distracting. And out here in the natural light, I feel like I can automatically eliminate this one because it's looking quite neon. And probably this one too. I kind of like that one. It's like a sage color. I hope that's translating. Let's see, I'll get you a little closer here. So I'm kind of liking this one, but it does look a little bit dark. I might move it over to another wall and see how that looks in a minute. The reason I put this one out here is because we already have it, because this was our laundry room ceiling color, and I kind of like it. It's pretty. It's definitely more on the blue side than I wanted and a little bit darker. I'm really leaning toward one of these. I think these are really pretty. Then again, I also really like all of these. And these two are very similar to this one. That's one option. Or to go with one of these that has more of like a celery look to it, which I think is really cute for the garden. Okay, I just moved them over to the other wall and I looked at the names of these two, which I was kind of leaning toward. This one is called Sleeping Angel and this one is called Sweet Dreams. So maybe I just want to take a nap. Okay, Hal's here. So I'm going to tape up the outside options for the shed and see if he can help me figure out the color scheme for this project. So we have some darker greens and darker blues that we're thinking about for the outside. And then down here, this is the house trim.
My original thought was this color, which is our laundry room ceiling. I'm leaning more towards the blues than the greens.
We're here on the outside of the garden shed looking at 4 color swatches, and I'm leaning toward the green now that we're out here, and I believe Hal is too. Is that correct?
I thought I wanted the blue, but after looking at it, I think I really like this green.
It's time to eliminate some colors. We're definitely going to take this away because it's too light. And we're going to take this away because it's too dark. And then we're still deciding between these two. But we don't need to decide that today. So let us know what you think in the comments. Dark green or dark blue for the outside of our shed. Here's a view of the shed in context so that you can decide blue or green. Picture all of this being cleaned up. And then here on the inside, for the sake of using what we already have, we're gonna give the taffeta green a try. That's the leftover from our laundry room ceiling. Saturday morning, and we are under a little bit of a time crunch now because I just saw that it's supposed to rain all day tomorrow, and so today we're gonna try and get this whole place painted and also put the ceiling on, or the roof. You've seen the inside of the house, and most of the walls in there are pretty neutral. We went with really neutral palettes to make a really calm and relaxing space for us, kind of a getaway from the heat outside in the summertime. But with this garden shed, we're gonna be doing something a little more fun, using a little bit more color than we did inside. It's still pretty light because even though it's cool now, most of the time here in Florida, like we mentioned before, it is really, really hot. And so we do like having bright, cool spaces versus like a warm, cozy feel, because when it's 90 degrees out, there's really no need for a cozy space. So this is going to be really refreshing even in the summertime. I'm just doing a little test now with the brush. I'll get to the roller here in a minute, but I just wanted to see how this is going to look on the walls. And I think I'm really liking it. It looks kind of minty out here inside in the laundry room, just because the light is different in all of these spaces. It actually looks a little darker inside on the ceiling than this is looking out here. And of course this is gonna look a little different once it dries too, but this is really pretty. Okay, let's step back a little bit and see how this looks. I'm thinking on camera it probably just looks white to you, but you can tell, even if you can't quite tell the color, you can see how much cleaner it looks than this look over here. So that is gonna be a huge improvement. And also, this is gonna be a great way to use up this paint because, as you can see, we still have almost a full gallon because we only used this for our laundry room ceiling. First wall done. And that brings me to another reason why we're doing this garden shed right now. When we're working on the house, I mean, you've been with us, you've been following along. You know that we've run into some obstacles, and basically for the entire first year that we were renovating the house, we were doing triage because there would be a leak here, then there'd be a leak there, then something else would break, then we'd realize there were like no studs in the wall. So we would often have to stop the project that we were working on so that we could go fix something else that we weren't planning on. And the nice thing about this project is we can just do it from start to finish. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't really matter because we're not trying to live in the garden shed. But it is going to be really nice to have. And so far, things are going really smoothly, which is very exciting. I hope those aren't my famous last words. Let's keep painting. It's actually getting really hot out here. So I'm very glad I'm doing this now in January instead of July. This is controversially not the best thing to say on YouTube, but I can't promise you that this garden shed is gonna have a Pinterest reveal. It is gonna have a reveal, but it's gonna be a real life reveal because this project is about our real life, and it's about taking a little bit of money, a little bit of time, what we have already, and it's about taking a small corner of your house or your yard or your property that you can improve just a little, maybe taking something that's unusable and making it usable. Like this garden shed, we really couldn't use it when we bought the house. It was full of mold, it was dark, it was gross, and now it's already hugely, greatly improved. If we were perfectionists, we never would have moved into this house. We could have kept renovating and restoring and renovating and restoring for a very, very long time. 2.5 years, that was enough. So this project, at the end of the day, it's not about perfection. It's just about improving something that we couldn't use, making it usable, making it pretty, making it enjoyable. And we'll be able to come out here, plant seeds, spend time together, build our garden, and we took something that was abandoned and we're turning it into a really bright and happy place. So I'm curious if there's a corner of your house or your yard that has been sitting there for a while, is there any way that you can maybe take a few dollars, a little bit of time, maybe one day, one weekend, and maybe don't spend any money, but just look around your house and see what you already have and make it just a little bit better. If you do have a project like that, then let us know in the comments what it is that you're working on. Headed back after lunch to see how the paint looks after drying. I think it looks great. Super pretty. So I was thinking during lunch, what should I do with these beams up here? What color should I paint them? And then also all of these studs, what should I paint them? I was leaving them just the primer white until I decided. I did paint a few of them the wall color, but then I remembered that we have a whole gallon of this paint, and that paint was supposed to be part of the trim for the exterior of our house. We have two exterior trim colors. We have a blue and then like a light tan. This one we had tried out and it was too light, so we ended up not using it at all. I don't think we ever even showed you that. So we have a whole gallon of it, and I think that would be perfect for painting these and also these. Well, you can probably tell that it's a little bit darker now than when I started. The sky is looking pretty gray. Oh, and it's actually starting to rain. I hope that this paint holds up. Okay, I just went running inside with everything. Sorry, I don't have my mic. The rain stopped for now, so I want to show you how it all turned out.
Rained last night before I got the roof on. Bad timing on my part. However, the paint held up. Everything looks good, other than, you know, a little bit of water on the floor, which this shed has had its share of water. But yeah, it did blow in a little bit of dirt, came down from the roof, so that, you know, it's gonna have to get swept up once it's dry. I'm gonna go ahead and put the roof on now. I don't wanna wait. Time is limited. So before I put the panels up, I have to put these down, and these interlock. They lock together and they run the length of the beam so that the grooves of the plastic go in between. So I gotta nail these down, and then I can start laying down the panels. All right, I am going to assemble these on the ground because up on the ladder was too precarious. This is much easier. And while I do this mundane task, I would like to talk to you about boredom. As I mentioned earlier, not feeling so well. And so yesterday while Kristen was working, I was bored because I was sick on the couch. And you know, it really got me thinking about how important boredom is and how these days people aren't bored enough. They just aren't. So I ask you, once you've watched this video, some of our other videos, you know, for an extended period of time, you shut everything off and go be bored. You might be surprised what you find is going on in your brain, because when you're bored, your brain literally turns to default mode. It's called the default mode network. And you might recognize it when you're, let's say, sitting at a traffic light for more than a few, you know, maybe a minute, and you start to think about things. And they're not always comfortable things. Sometimes They're very existential questions about your life, what's going on. And no, I'm not going to talk to you about BetterHelp. I do like the idea of an examined life and asking yourself questions, especially hard questions, and especially those that come out of boredom. I think being bored is one of my favorite hobbies. I wanted to ask you, where do you go when you're bored? What pops up when you're bored? And what's your favorite place to be bored? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to read some of those reactions. And I'd also like to know from some of you that hate being bored. That's a foreign concept to me. I'm often bored at work. That's a good one. That's a good place to be bored. You know, while I'm in the operating room. Just kidding, I'm not a surgeon. But I would like to hear where you find yourself being bored and where your thoughts take you. I really enjoy it, and I hope you try it, and maybe you'll just renew your mind and something good will come out of it. Anyway, who's got time to be bored? Not me. I'm putting on this roof, gonna get it done today. So, enough rambling. Hal's wandering minute, maybe? Hal's rambling minute. Anyway, I think my minute's up. Let me know in the comments if I should name this segment or if I should just completely cut it out. Or maybe I'm asking you too many questions. Anyway, it's a lot more fun than watching paint dry, right? Okay, put the panels on. I'm gonna have them just overlap an extra rung so that I don't have to cut the piece. Let me show you here. This is where they're gonna overlap here. And that's just over one rung. But then over here, you can see it goes to two. And that's gonna help with water, keeping water out. And then, like I said, so I don't have to cut it. Okay, now it's time to attach. I'm just gonna be using this neoprene washer screw. And it's got this little rubber gasket that fits on the end, that's over the washer there. So when I screw it down, it keeps it watertight. I could pre-drill these, but I think as long as I keep it nice and slow, I got the torque dialed down, it'll go in there. And I'll just do that all the way across and all the way up.
We have a $500 budget to fix up our abandoned garden shed. In week 1, we spent $0. In week 2, we spent $45 on wood for framing, $8 on brackets, $252 for the plastic roofing sheets, $60 for plastic straps to attach the roof, so our total spent is $365, with only $135 remaining to finish the inside and the outside of the shed.
All done. Roof is on. Looking good. I like the amount of light that's coming through here. It's really pretty. Super happy with the color. And now we just have to clean it all out, figure out what we're gonna put on the inside. Still looking for that window, so we're gonna have to go trash picking in the next video. Next time on our abandoned garden shed, we have an emergency use of the garden shed sooner than expected.